there are a lot of things in Hong Kong
Yes.
you do not know about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I came to Hong Kong to study journalism at HKU. I did a master's of 1 year. Then I worked for TVB Pearl for 1 year.
Good.
And now, almost 3 years, I work for AFP, a French news agency.
Yeah. Well, Hong Kong was an exciting place when I was there.
Yes. I kind of, so much has changed.
Yeah, but so much has changed, but so much remained the same.
Oh,
So
yes.
much remained
When
the
was the
same.
last time you were here?
I was in Hong Kong. I have been in Hong Kong several times to speak at different hospitals, different universities. I was invited back to speak. Right? So I've been back several times until Xi Jinping came to the power, making it unsafe for me to go, because they would kidnap anyone who have spoken against Communist China. So scholars can disappear. So they invite me, so I said no, thank you. Even Tsinghua 大学, Tsinghua University invite me to speak. I said no, thanks.
Yes.
It's unsafe right now, until China have become safer again. Xi Jinping is right now the people just disappeared, got kidnapped. Yeah, just disappeared.
Yeah.
You know, several scholars disappeared.
Yes, even booksellers.
Yeah.
Also.
So it's a very scary place. Okay,
Yeah.
you can ask me about things in the 50s. You can ask me anything.
Yes. Well, in general, I think you have a very interesting life. I would like to know more about your life story. Yeah, so I read your blog and your story of coming to Hong Kong. I think you was it 11 years old, around that age?
Yeah.
Yeah, still a little boy. Yeah, actually, I would like to know more, but like before you left, what were the reasons that you left? Your family left,
Yeah.
and also what was it like when you arrived? And actually, before we start, I wanted to ask you, are you okay for me to record this?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
I'm
great.
a public person, so people interview me from all over the world. So I'm
All
used to
right.
being recorded.
Great. I'll start recording now.
Yeah.
For my own, but I won't publish anything without your consent.
Sure.
Yes. Okay, great. Yeah. So I was asking you, your family. Why did your family decide to move to Hong Kong?
So that was a last-minute decision. Go or no go, that was a family debate in China. So at that time, we heard so much horror stories about language, like communists. You cannot trust communists. They are brutal, like land reform, and the landlord got shot, and rich people got shot. So the back and forth. Finally, only one last ship to leave China. My father said, "No, we go. Can't take chances." So that's how we decided. At that time, there is a huge exodus. Many people are in the late 40s, okay, just before the communists came. So I left in December '48. So a couple months later, the Chinese army marched in my city, right? So we catch the last boat. So we are fortunate to be able to live. At that time, Hong Kong is flooded with refugees like us. There's so many people that it continued, I think it's from the 48, 49, 50s. In the 50s, it's so thousands of people risked their lives to swim over the river to come to Hong Kong because of land reform. Many innocent, my friend, he escaped from China when he saw his witness, his brothers, his parents got shot. Simply because they want to land, the landlord. They're not bad people, they're very good to people who work in the land. So the whole family got shot, he was escaped from Hong Kong. And my uncle escaped because when Chinese communists took over Shanghai, they assured them you can do business as usual, there's no harm was ever done to you. So my father left, but my uncle still maintained doing business. We are an insurance company, and we're doing a little bit of export, import. So during the anti-corruption 3 anti campaign, 4 anti campaign, so they run up all the business people that didn't have any contact with America. They run up, either sent to a labor camp or shot. So my uncle had to disguise as a farmer to escape. My own brother,
How did your uncle escape in the end?
as a farmer, disguised as a farmer.
And he came to Hong Kong also?
Yeah,
Or...
yeah. So, it's just horrendous. There's so many movements, anti-business movement, and suppress anti-revolutionary movement campaign. There's so many political campaigns, one after another, culminating in the Cultural Revolution. Just millions of people got killed. That's why, to understand Hong Kong's unrest, you remember the majority of Hong Kong people, they are victims of Chinese oppression and persecution. They all have memories, painful memories about how their property got confiscated, how their relatives got killed. So China cannot win over the hearts of Hong Kong people by oppression. They're wrong. They exactly just reinforce their memory of the horror of communists. So arrest them, send them to jail. You cannot win their heart. I think they have tasted what freedom is like under British. Even as a British colony, we had a lot of freedom, democracy. I know many people personally. They want to come to Hong Kong. They make a living by being a street hawker. Anybody can set up something on the street to sell, to peddle. So many of them are able to succeed in life and become successful business people. The entrepreneurial spirit is very strong in Hong Kong. The ingenuity of Chinese people is evident in Hong Kong. And so many rich people in Hong Kong used to be refugees, used to have nothing, but they left everything in China. My own brother is a good example. He got a PhD in Caltech, and his professor is a Nobel Prize winner. So he and several other famous scientists, Chen Xuesen, and those Nobel Prize winners, they all went to China to serve country. But he ended up in labor camp reform because he's free, outspoken, and this constant purge, one campaign after another campaign, they don't stop until they arrest or kill all the people who have any kind of dissent against the government. They'll either end up dead or end up in prison. So right now they have people in China who dare not say anything because their heart is different from what they say. Those who survive are those people who bow down to the government. Hong Kong people will never bow down. Hong Kong people, they're a big part in the Mao Zedong's revolution. I mean, not Mao Zedong, Sun Yat-sen's revolution. Hong Kong people play a part. So Hong Kong people is very strong in terms of for democracy, for freedom. So that's why I feel
At
very
the same
sad.
time, yeah.
I feel very
I
sad
think
for young
it-
people.
Sorry?
I say I feel sad for Hong Kong people. The Hong Kong people who dare to stand up against communism, they know they're sacrificing their future. Right now, there are only two choices. Either exodus, there's nowhere to escape. Exodus try to find refugee in Canada or in UK, or to keep silent. Because if you don't keep silent, you got arrested. You know, in Hong Kong become another Chinese city. There's no freedom of speech, even though the Constitution say, "Oh, there's freedom of religion, freedom of speech," but nobody believes in that rhetoric. The rhetoric has lost credibility because they all have personal victims of communist oppression in the past 50 years. So they never convince them with promise of this promise. Promise from government means nothing. They feel like there's a movement called let the hundred flowers blossom. They say, oh, we're going to open up. Everyone can express themselves. So the stupid writers and artists say, here good opportunity to express our real feelings about China. So, and then after they've all expressed feeling, the government change policies. They arrest other people. It's followed by Cultural Revolution. So all the people who expressed dissent, all rounded up, got arrested or got killed. Oh, I can't tell you how many million people got killed. It's my heart very happy, but I've been in Hong Kong. I feel so sad.
Yeah, I can imagine. There's something I would like to ask you because during the protests, it was mostly young people who came out to protest, whereas these memories you're talking about is mostly was your generation,
Okay.
and why do you think that so many people of your generation do not support the protesters?
Okay, but do you remember the last protest?
Yeah,
It's
no, I covered the
more
2019 protest.
more than a million people, not just young people, old people, parents holding children.
Yeah.
I mean, the young people are just a vanguard. It's just they are there to speak up. But you know why? Because they have heard from the oral tradition, oral history. They have heard from their grandparents, like me. They heard from the parents about the horror of communist government, the horror, the bloody Stalin style purge. Millions of innocent people got killed. They grown up hearing all this horror story, and now they are again using happy-handed approach. Just support it, what I've heard. Yeah, my parents are right. My grandparents are right. They're doing it again. This anti-corruption campaign, just like most anti-this, anti-that campaign. Just no different, just slogan change a little bit. But aim is to purge anybody who dare to oppress any dissatisfaction with the government. So the Hong Kong people are no fool because they experienced it. They suffer from it. They're not going to listen to her. No, Taiwan people, young people would rather die than believe China's one country, two system. You cannot. So far, they broke all the promises. Promise the land law, promise the business people, all promise religious freedom. And in the Constitution, the religious freedom. But how many Christian pastors got arrested? It's just Deng Xiaoping said, Chinese people's word can be trusted. Yet, Chinese people word can be trusted. But you are not Chinese people, you're communists. Communists never tell the truth. They gain power by manipulation, deception, and power. They do anything to perpetuate their grip on power. They don't know what truth is. Truth is what got you stay in power. People know that. Everyone knows that. You dare to speak up, you got shot. Oh, I feel admire those young people. They'll lose their lives.
Yeah.
My brother was went to China to serve China. He got uppercut and then got arrested and then finally escaped. I helped him get escape from China. We're all refugees from China. Don't talk about China. Anytime I talk about China, I just my heart broken. My heart broken.
Your heart is.
China has good tradition. Chinese people love their people. But Communist China, Communist Party is not Chinese. They're not Chinese, right? They're from, I don't know where they're from. They're from the devil or whatever. I don't know where they're from. They're no humanity.
Yeah.
So,
Coming back to when you came to Hong Kong, you said you came by boat.
yeah. The last boat.
The last boat. So where did you depart from? Did you say?
From Tianjin.
Oh right, yeah. And I mean, you were quite young at the time. but
11, yeah.
Do you remember what it was like arriving in Hong Kong?
Yeah. When I arrived, I wobbling out the ship for so many weeks, okay? Hong Kong street is crowded with people. Like you see old lady pushing a car with cardboard to make a box. You see old lady breaking stones to make bucks. You see children peddling newspaper. In those days, newspaper all delivered by kids. They make a buck from delivering newspaper. Everybody's working to make a living, but they're happy. They're free. Many of them used to be very rich in China. We lost everything. So they rather be poor and free than live in China at the whim of the government. You don't know when somebody knocking at the door, you got arrested. So sad. I could cry over China. No.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you say everyone was working really hard to make a living, and so many people such a big part of the population were refugees.
Oh yeah.
Was it hard for your family because you had to start from scratch?
Oh yeah, well, but very hard. See, we all came with some money, but soon used up, right? So my father had to restart. It's very, very hard. Yeah. And
what did your father do?
My father, he do all kinds of things, all kind of business. Right? I mean, my father can sell you anything, but he's good in selling. He will sell watches to American GI. He will sell custom-made suits for American GI. I mean, he sells insurance, be an insurance salesman. He couldn't sell it. He's successful. Doesn't matter what he sells. So Chinese people are very, very creative. They're all from rags to riches. There are hundreds of stories of that. when the communists came, everything changed. So during the hangover, 1997, the big, big, big exodus from Hong Kong, because they are afraid. The fear of communism is deeply ingrained in our mind and consciousness. Many of them came to Canada. Okay? And then later on, say, after Deng Xiaoping opened up, they say, maybe China changed. The open up is a strategy, because they know that the socialist system is collapsing. They have to change, turn to government capitalism. Government is the biggest capitalist. They are turning to capitalism to survive, because communism didn't work. Because people in stores, they don't serve the customer. Because there's no incentive. The farmers do not work in commune, government land. They don't work because there's no incentive to work hard. When they started this reform, private ownership, people can work hard. So that's why they have been opened up. They say, communists has changed. And they went back, so now they say, communists cannot change. Their DNA is made of brutality, oppression, and deception. The DNA of communists never change. It's part of DNA. Their very existence is based on gun and propaganda, and then bribery. And if you obey me, hit a carrot. If you don't obey me, bang. But you can't win people's heart. You can only win people's heart by caring for people. You recognize people need allow them some freedom. You cannot condemn all freedom and then dangling a carrot and wave a big stick. You can win people's heart. So their strategy in the long run is self-defeating. I don't know how long it can last, because there's you reach Chinese history. There's so many political campaigns, one after another, non-stop. Anti-religion, anti-revolutionary, anti-right, anti-business people, and they continually campaign to put people who are some dissent, who have some criticism against government. So it's part of DNA. You can't maintain power without winning people's heart. Right now, the only legitimate claim to power is that national government capitalism works so that most people are allowed to have a private enterprise making money. So as long as people are not worried about livelihood, they're not going to they obey. Okay, but when economy collapse, they say we're not going to lose anymore. We lost our freedom, now even lost our border rights. Then the whole China will be in turmoil. You just cannot rule the country without winning people's heart.
Yeah. I would like to know a little bit more about your childhood in Hong Kong and your experiences. Because I read in your book at the beginning you didn't go to school yet.
We first arrived in the middle of school year. Yeah. So. But
did you resume normal life quite easily in Hong Kong?
Hong Kong, during the first year, we just when we first arrived, when no place, we crammed out into hotel room, we rent hotel room. So most of the time, I and my brothers, Nathan Road, they're working up and down. We live in Kowloon Hotel. I don't know what's still there. So most of the time we worked on up and down Nation Road and look at look through the windows. So for some reason, what attracted my attention are the watches. I say, oh, this is a good watch. So I'm not too much into toy. I like those suitcase. I mean, what do you call that? The business people go to work.
Oh, yes. Briefcase?
A
no?
briefcase,
It's
yeah.
called-
I like to go to work, carry a briefcase. So I like I'm attracted to watches and briefcases. I don't know why. So
Yeah, that's what attracted you. And then afterwards, the school that you went to, what was it like?
my parents felt that I should learn some English. So we went to St. Stephen's Boys School in Stanley because our place home is so cramped. So we live in a residential school. So St. Stephen's Boys School is a residential school. Boys, now it's co-ed now. Co-ed. In early days, only boys only. So I have very good memories. The beautiful scenery, and so I had a really good memory. And my teacher, after I left for 10 years, my teacher still mentioned me. Say I'm the model student. They came to visit me. Say, oh, teacher, I always mention you as the model student because I have to help other people with their math, with their, my English is very poor because in China there's no English, right? But in 1 year I was able to on the top of the class. So I'm a good student. So that's why my teacher always tell all the classes, Paul Wang is a model student.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
And were there also other students like you who had come from China?
Oh, most of them are from China. Most of them are China. And so after St. Stephen, so my mother asked me to go to diocesan school of La Salle, but I said I went to go to Puixing. Puixing is the best Chinese school, so I went to Puixing. So after St. Stephen, so I was excited by all the best schools because
Wow.
I'm always top in the class every year, right? So I went to Puixing. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And you said that many of your other classmates also had come from China.
Yes.
And I don't know, like at those times, is it possible for everyone to go to school, or your parents your
Well, see,
father sounds like a successful businessman, or what was it? Yeah, what was it like? Were you one of the more fortunate ones, or?
see, Chinese people never say die, never die. Okay, they lost everything, they rebuild. They lost everything. My father lost everything 5 times, but each time he got up and rebuilt. For example, he was doing import export. He's shipping. He bought all kinds of a huge amount of truck tires, tires, wheels because of the Korean War. Okay, he bought it because China demanded. So they had to get it through Hong Kong, right? So my father again getting to import export, whole shipment. But Korean War is over, so China we don't want it anymore. So my father got stuck without money and got no money, lost lots of money.
So you had to start all over.
Yeah. So it's just so people think China is a huge market when they do business with China, but you wait until it's to their advantage, they will just swallow you up. Yeah. So all my friends see preaching that time had many good teachers. You know why? Because they are professors in China. was keep. We have some best teacher, the famous professor in China. They taught high school because they couldn't teach in university. At that time, only one Hong Kong university, right? But some of my teachers eventually go taught in Hong Kong U or Chinese Hong Kong U. But some of my professors, some of my high school teachers were actually professors, famous professors.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like Liang Siqiu, she's a very famous writer. Liang Siqiu, mathematics and science, was so teacher of YouTube professors in China. That
So
Putin,
that,
yeah, that Putin is so
yeah.
famous because we are taught by the famous professors.
You had a very good education.
Yeah.
And then after high school, what did you decide to do?
No, unemployment. In the early 60s, I mean in the 50s, there's so few jobs, right?
Yeah.
So for 2 or 3 years, we couldn't get jobs, okay? So I tried the tutoring, I tried all kinds of things, okay? So during the 2 or 3 years, I had no job. But, you know, Chinese people, most people, Chinese people are like me those days. We spend time studying, you know, on our own, or look for job, you know, study. We don't just complain doing nothing. You know, we study hard and work hard. So finally I say, well, why don't you just work for the government like a civil servant? So I got a job as translator, station in Peak Station, a police station with Mandarin speaking police, because I'm Mandarin speaking. So they put me there. So I was an interpreter at the police station until I came to Canada. Yeah.
Ah. Oh wow. Did you feel like at that time there were many opportunities in Hong Kong, or what did you?
No, but very few opportunity. So basically I was stuck, right? Until my sister married in Japan, he married a rich man. So he offered me, her husband offered me $1,000 to Canada. So that changed my life. So that's why I promised myself, I say, one day if I become rich, I will offer scholarship to people in Hong Kong, give them a new life. That dream is still not fulfilled yet. I'm still waiting to get some money to start. This is one of my dreams still not fulfilled. I want to set up a foundation to help Hong Kong young people to come to Canada to have new life. 现在I was able to $1,000 changed my whole life.
Wow. Why did you decide Canada? What made you think this is where my future is?
Because most of my class, put it this way. Most of my classmates, all classmates study overseas, okay? That most of them are in choose the states, the famous Ivy League universities. But some of my best friends choose Canada. At that time, I was applying to go to medical school. I was planning to be a medical doctor, right? But some of my best friends went to medical school in Ottawa U and McGill. So I plan to study medicine. That's why, in my mind, I say if I have money, I go to Canada.
So, if I understand it correctly, you felt like there were no opportunities for you in Hong Kong, so you wanted to study and go to Canada.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, I hear from a lot of people what you also said, the rags to riches stories, right? That were business opportunities, but I think you wanted something different, more like
not-
future in academics or
but
Yeah.
not really opportunity because just remember how much so many people. So
Yeah.
in the 50s, it's just as bad as now. Okay? Now maybe not as bad as in the 50s. You graduate from high school in the 50s, there's so many refugees in Hong Kong. There's just simply very few jobs. Very few jobs. Sure, if I stay in Hong Kong, I'll become successful too. Eventually, But my path is not in business. My father's in business, but my interest is not business. I'm more interested in academic. So that's why in Hong Kong, most people's aspiration is study overseas.
And you didn't want to or didn't have the possibility to go to HKU, or it wasn't something you wanted?
No.
It wasn't something you
It
wanted.
was too expensive.
Mm.
Too expensive. Right?
And then when you got to Canada, how did you pay for your university fees?
Oh, I work part-time jobs. I do typing for people. I do bookkeeping for people. I support myself. I'm willing to do dishes in a restaurant. In Canada, I clean washrooms for people. I do typing. I do all kinds of jobs to support myself.
So you worked hard to pay for
Yeah. Not
for your
only
tuition
yeah,
fees.
not only pay my tuition fee, also send me home. Because I know my parents need money. I'll send me home. So nowadays, the kids all support their parents. I have no idea what struggle is. There's so many Chinese. The Chinese right now in Canada, the different breed of Chinese students. They're all rich from rich families, never had to work. So they don't know what hardship is. And what happened? I'm depressed. Well, I'm depressed. They compare being depressed, being bored. They have all the money. The parents provide all the money, and yet they're complaining about being depressed, being bored. And they went to talk to a psychologist. Talk to me. I said, shame on you. With all the things that you're depressed.
Yeah.
So I woke them up and said that, no, you better think about life is not just enjoyment. That's why you're depressed. Try work, try hard work, try help somebody. So I don't know any others to survive than hard work, and then later on when I become Christian, trusting God and hard work. And not complaining. Complaining never gets you anywhere.
Yeah. Wow, that's true. Yeah. I wanted to ask, was it hard? But you say no complaining.
Complaining never gets anywhere.
I guess it can still be hard.
You complain about blame this, blame that. Where does it get to? Nowhere. You just stuck.
Yeah.
I say, all the time you spend complaining, you better pray. You better work hard.
Yeah. So then you studied in Canada and you decided to stay there and live there.
Yeah, most people study in Canada do not go back. They all ask for permanent residence.
Do you ever miss Hong Kong?
I miss Hong Kong. Yeah, of course. Hong Kong, this is very interesting, okay? When we first came to Hong Kong, I didn't speak Cantonese, right? So all my classmates laugh at me, call me Lao Song. Lao Song in Chinese, Lao Xing means the polite way of saying, call people you don't know Lao Xing, we're brothers. They call me Lao Song. They make fun of me. some boy try to bully me, but they did not know that I'm also a good fighter. So I beat all of them. So later on, then nobody dare to touch me or touch my brother. You touch my brothers, I'll catch you. So I'm able to beat up people much taller than I am. You know why
Not
I'm a
only
good,
smart but also strong.
you know why I'm a good fighter? Because I practice my fist on the wall every day until I don't feel any pain anymore. So my fist like a rock, okay? So I didn't learn Kung Fu, right? I just train myself until my fist is so hard that don't have feel no pain. So I can knock anybody down.
Oh wow. So no one could mess with you.
Well, and don't mess with me or my brother or sister. So
Yeah.
for survival, I had to train myself, discipline myself, learn physical strength, and study hard, get good grade. Just a matter of survival, right? But in foreign land, there's a lot of big bullies. Okay, try to bully you. So until I beat them all, then nobody touch me anymore. And
Wow.
they call me turtle shell. They don't mess around with him. His fist is hard as a rock.
Yeah. Cannot mess with you. Is there anything, or maybe more things that you miss about Hong Kong? Like what are the things you miss the
The
most?
people are so, the Cantonese people are very nice. They're very straightforward, well honest. Shanghai people is different. See, my ancestors from Shanghai. Shanghai people flashy when they show out. They're peace people. But I like Cantonese people are so honest, so straightforward. I also like the Northerner, Tianjin. They are also very, very realistic, very practical, very honest. I just don't trust Shanghai people. Shanghainese, so my parents are Shanghainese. Shanghainese are corrupted by business. The first city open to Western influence. So they don't have too much of a traditional Chinese value. They learn how to make a buck, how to do business, they know how to talk, how to show out. So the Shanghai style didn't work very well in Hong Kong because eventually the Hong Kong style business people all lose out to the locals. The local people are very practical. So they don't gamble, they don't take unnecessary risk. They're very practical business people. Hong Kong business people, in contrast, do everything in a big way. Eventually, they lose out to the locals. Locals are loud. Because locals, they know the situation, right? They know the situation. They know how to survive, succeed. People, the refugees from Hong Kong without the money, they don't understand local culture. So they start on business and fail. So they lose out all the money to the locals. This is another insight that people do not know.
So the thing you miss the most is the people.
Yeah, and the people. And the scenery. And scenery, Hong Kong is so beautiful.
Yeah, that's true.
So I used to, in my early teens, I used to spend my day climbing CC Lines Mountain or climbing mountains. I just sit there, look at the sky, look at the cloud, and sit there and look down the city. It's so beautiful.
Yes, I agree. Hong Kong is really beautiful.
And harbor, Hong Kong harbor at night, so beautiful. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sorry, when did you say was the last time you were in Hong Kong?
What
year?
I forgot which year, but definitely before Xi Jinping took power. After Xi Jinping took over power, I stopped going there.
You never, yeah.
But he's dangerous.
Yeah.
Hu Jintao.
Wow.
The last time I actually speak in Nanjing University and speak to Santou University. When Hu Jintao, when Hu Jintao is the chair, before she succeeded Hu Jintao. After she took power, I stopped going. I don't trust that guy.
Yeah. Have you ever received threats or?
Oh, they don't.
Or-
They don't. Well, I know many people disappeared, kidnapped.
Anyone you know in person that was
Of course,
kidnapped
of course,
or?
of course, I know. Yeah. Of course, I know. Yeah.
Is it other scholars or?
Other scholars and writers and outspoken people kidnapped, yeah, disappeared. Of course, I know
Did
that.
they ever?
And you lawyers, you human rights lawyers, pastors, some pastors got kidnapped and locked up. So we all pray for them, right?
Yeah. Did you ever see them again, or they were never?
Well, Hong Kong Youth Remember they invite me. They say, I agree because it's virtual. If I ask me to go there, I say no, thank you.
So you do online.
Yeah, online.
You can be
So
present.
I have spoken to all universities in Hong Kong. Hong Kong Chinese University, and all universities except the new technical school. I haven't spoke there. But that was before Xi Jinping took power.
Right.
Xi Jinping and then Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong is dangerous. He tried to imitate Mao Zedong. That's a danger. He's not going back to Mao Zedong days.
Yeah. It's just one other question that just popped up. When you came to Hong Kong as a kid, did you ever feel like the refugees were treated differently?
Oh
or?
yeah, definitely. I told you because we are Mandarin speaking. Our local laugh at us, called Lao Song, because we don't. They call it Lao Song. Lao Song means.
Yeah.
Of course, they discriminate against us. Even in school, they bully us. So I had
Yeah.
to fight to defend myself.
Oh, that was because you were
Northerner.
bullied.
You are Northerner, right? Because I took Mandarin, right?
Yeah.
It's just there's always a conflict between mainlanders and Hong Kongers that will go way
Yeah.
back, even in the 50s. The locals felt ambivalent to us. On the one hand, we the mainlander came to Hong Kong, bring a lot of capital and cash, provide more jobs. On the other hand, we compete with the locals. So the locals feel ambivalent. I mean, never open up. they don't receive us with open arms. They're a little bit suspicious, they're cautious, right? But eventually, after they get to know me, they began to be very friendly, began to accept you, right? But in the beginning, it's tough because they don't trust mainlanders. Even now, they still don't trust mainlanders. When the mainlanders buy up all the things in Hong Kong and ship in China, so Hong Kong people are left with shortage. So the mainland is so big, Hong Kong is so tiny. That's why the Hong Kongers are always worried about the mainlanders coming in and take over everything.
Yeah, that's what I wondered also because there was so many people came to Hong Kong, and I imagine some people must not have been happy with such a big influx of people.
Another phenomenon that's interesting in Hong Kong. I guess every Sunday there is the Filipino Day, whatever.
Oh yes, their day off.
They all get together en masse. Thousands of them. quite sight, thousands of them.
Yeah.
They get together and talk, eat, and have a holiday. Thousands of them together. They're quite sight.
Yeah, it's so nice. I like watching them when they dance, they listen to music.
Yeah.
But it's difficult for them now during COVID because many employers will not let their helpers go out. They're just stuck inside.
Yeah, but
And sometimes quite harsh.
Right now, they are the home helpers from Philippines are having a hard time, really hard time.
Yeah. And now Hong Kong government ordered all the helpers to get tested for COVID.
Yeah.
Only helpers, because they say they are the ones who have the social activities, whereas actually all Hong Kongers now, even with COVID, have social activities. They're not the only ones. Anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah. But we all have our stories in Hong Kong. And we all have our stories.
I just feel like sometimes they're treated unfairly.
Yeah. But still Hong Kong the Cantonese still locals. The locals, I mean, the locals should appear. They're always there, the locals, okay? The locals are originally, it's also from people from Canton. That's why it's Cantonese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They settled in Hong Kong for hundreds of years, okay? So Hong Kong was colony for 150 years. The British did a good job, in managing Hong Kong. Yeah. So the people are used to the freedom, democracy, and they know this is part of life. And now, communists try to impose dictatorship, on Hong Kong people. It will never work.
I think, that's why there are also Hong Kongers now who want to leave.
Oh, that's why Canada, UK, and many other countries open doors to the Hong Kongers.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people who take part in the protest, they're all blacklisted. They were arrested one of these days. So if they don't leave, they'll be arrested sooner or later.
Yes.
I
wanted to,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you because the reason I'm interested in this topic is because I think you can learn a lot about Hong Kong's situation now by looking at history.
Exactly. You can never understand. You can never understand Hong Kong's unrest if you do not know the history in the 50s.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm so interested in people from mainland China who came to Hong Kong as refugees, and I'm trying to talk to people and I'm researching.
You talk to many people, you'll find out they'll support my experience. Okay?
Yeah. I was wondering actually, do you know people in Hong Kong, other people I could talk to? I'm always happy to talk to
you see, all my friends, I don't know whether I'm going to talk to you or not. They're all old people now. See, I'm old, right? I'm old.
That's not a problem. And also, if they don't speak English, that's not a problem either, because I have teammates who speak either Mandarin or Cantonese. So anyway, if you think of anyone, I'm always very grateful because I really want to learn, and I'm really interested in this. And of course, I'm not a Hong Konger, so I need to speak to a lot of people. So
if you write an article, you have to be careful because you might get arrested.
Yeah, I need to be careful. So I don't know yet how I will do it, but safety is number one. Not just my safety, even more the people who I interview.
Well, I don't care.
No, you're in Canada, but I mean people in Hong Kong. That's my priority. I won't be able to sleep at night if I get anyone in trouble. But anyway, if you think of people I could talk to, I really appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm always looking for more people.
Okay, good.
Anyway, Leslie, I wanted to talk about something else.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, I won't be writing anything about this soon. Actually, I don't write much as a journalist. I do mostly video. At the moment, like I said, I work for the news agency, and I'm mostly editing videos. I'm mostly stuck at the office now, and the project I'm working on is next to my job because I'm so interested in this, and I find it more interesting than my job. So, so yeah, I'm not gonna do anything with this, but I do. Yeah, I was reading about your research and your existential positive psychology, and it's quite interesting. I think I read the article you sent me, and also was it BBC article also?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was this part that says to change from binary thinking to paradoxical thinking. Like, what does that mean exactly?
Okay. This is very important, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In North America, their thinking is dominated by either or. Binary, either or. You're either good or bad. You're either for me or against me. So the binary thinking is very limited because in reality, most things or emotion or feelings are not either or. It's always a mixture of things, ambiguous. Say, for example, the parent-child relationship often is a love-hate relationship. The children, the teenagers hate the harassment from parents, but also love the parents. Okay, they love-hate, and our memories is bittersweet. Okay, I have fond memory of Hong Kong. Very happy memory about Hong Kong, but also bitterness that all of us are refugees from common persecution. There's always a sense of bitterness with the sweetness, the bittersweet memory. So most things in life is not either or, but both. Okay. So the paradoxical dialectic thinking of Lao Tzu is new to the West. Lao Tzu says that everything in life is paradoxical. You want to win, to succeed, learn how to lose. If you don't know how to lose, you know how to win. You want to be happy, know what sorrow is. If you do not know sorrow, poverty, hardship, you do not appreciate good things in life. You don't know what happiness is. That's why so many of my clients have problem. They have everything, but still miserable because they don't know what happiness is. They really don't. They want to ask for help, but they have never suffered. I say, if you do not know suffering, you don't appreciate happiness. You don't know what darkness is, you don't know what light is. Light cannot exist with the darkness. So paradoxical, also dialectical, because if you want to succeed in life, you have to navigate between positive and negative, and navigate and to discover a delicate balance. Life is about balance and harmony. If, for example, Deng Xiaoping does not understand Taoism, if she understands, he will not do what he does. In Hong Kong, solution is that because listen to their concerns, right? And Hong Kong needs to listen to the government concern. So you listen to each other and then discover from a point of balance and harmony. Either you win or I win, nobody wins. Dialectical, paradoxical is a win-win situation. It both ends. Both wins. So it's a very powerful approach. The quantum computer is based on quantum thing, quantum mechanics, that a cat can be alive and dead. It's not binary. The most powerful computer is not based on binary logic. It's based on quantum physics.
Yeah. Is that why? I think it was the other article that said something about toxic positivity.
Yeah, it's same thing.
Is that?
Yeah, the same idea, right? You say, you tell people that negative emotion is bad, we should only have positive emotion. It's the binary thinking, right? So that creates toxic positivity because I talk about in Hong Kong U, the teachers, okay? Teachers had their own problems with COVID-19, but before they teach, they put on a happy face, or we're supposed to be, show happiness in front of students. So the idea that you are sad inside and put on a happy face, it's toxic. Like a clown. He may have family tragic happening, but when he go to work, he put on a smile. They're killing him. It's very hard. A teacher has to do that because government say, for a teacher, you have to project a happy face because the student mood is affected by the teacher. That puts on enormous burden and pressure on the teachers.
Yeah, that's true.
They're human. They have their marital problem, family problem, COVID-19 concern. With all the problem, they're fake happiness. They're toxic.
And it makes it even more difficult to deal with.
And it's harmful to the mental health. You're sad, you're not cry. You're a fixed mind. That's why I say, I read about, I say, it's cool to be sad. But in today's climate, into this environment, feeling sad actually is the most adaptive response. Instead of catastrophizing and then, I'm depressed and go to or ignore it,